Hello everyone, this is Yasir from Fairfax QA Center. Today we will learn about LoadRunner controller. Controller, as you can understand from name, is the program to control overall load test. It is responsible for helping you to run the performance test design using the Vision script you created earlier in the videos, use runtime settings that you already have learned, enable disable runnable point, think time, add load generators, and control the number of users each generator can simulate. So it's kind of act as a backbone of LoadRunner application. Let's go ahead and run the LoadRunner controller. Double click on LoadRunner folder on your virtual machine desktop. Double click on controller. So this is the starting window of LoadRunner controller named as new scenario. It gives us the option to create either manual scenario or goal-oriented scenario. We will understand each type later in the video. If this window doesn't come up, go to your file menu, click on new button, and here we have our new scenario window. Similarly, if you want to open any existing scenario, go back to your file menu, click on open button, and select any existing scenario from the folder in your computer where you saved it before. Let's go back to our new scenario window. Let's try to understand a little theory of manual scenario and goal-oriented scenario. The manual scenario is more flexible. It gives you more control over the situation. You can select which transaction to execute for how many number of times and how long. And you can see the application behavior such as number of hits, response time, etc. Whereas in goal-oriented scenario, you can specify the goal and the load runner will take care of execution part. The goals can be like number of concurrent users, number of hits per second, transaction per second, pages per minute, etc. If you are not able to understand the difference between manual scenario and goal-oriented scenario, please don't worry. We are going to create two samples, one for manual scenario and one for goal-oriented scenario. And I think things will be more clear when you will see the running examples. So let's go ahead and create a manual scenario. Uncheck the percentage mode checkbox if it is already checked. You can select any existing script and add it in the scenario. We have one script, search flight. Click on search flight and then click on add button. We recorded this search flight script against the find a flight page of web tours application. You can go ahead and create as many scripts as you want. Before creating the manual scenario, let's understand the definition of scenario in the LoadRunner context. Scenario defines the event that occur during each testing session. It controls number of V user emulate and the action they perform. Also the machine on which they run their emulation. We use scenarios to create load tests to check reliability and strength of application and the server on which these applications are hosted. So we have selected the script for scenario. Click on OK button. You can see scenario has been created successfully and we added one script search flight in it. Before executing this scenario, let's try to understand different menus, buttons, and different options and their function. You can see this quantity is 10. This is actually the number of V users. If you would select the percentage mode in a new scenario starting window, it will show distribution of user in percentage. Controller distributes user per assigned percentage automatically, and you would see the label percentage here. So do the experiment offline and you will understand what I'm trying to say. Now let's go to this toolbar and try to understand each button. The first button, you can create a new scenario. The next button, you can open an existing scenario from your computer. The next button, you can save this current scenario. The next button is for load generators. I will explain load generators in detail. The next is show virtual location settings. I will also explain it. The next button is for virtual user generator. You can open the virtual user generator by clicking this button. And the last button is invoke LoadRunner analysis, and we have a detailed explanation of analysis module in upcoming videos. Let's first try to understand the load generators. Click on load generators button. Right now it is only localhost. It means our local machine will be used by controller as well as generator to simulate virtual user load. Close this window. The next thing we are going to discuss is network virtualization setting. So click on network virtualization setting button. The virtual location setting is a little complex concept, so let's try to understand it step by step. HP network virtualization helps you to test the point-to-point performance of website under real-world conditions. We can simulate network effects like latency, packet loss, and bandwidth that allows your test to run in an environment that closely resembles the actual deployment of application. If you are unaware of latency, bandwidth, and packet loss concepts, please Google them. To explain them in a simple word, I would say these concepts affects how soon your website is open in your computer. This becomes more important in mobile world. Each mobile network company, for example AT&T, Verizon, has their own infrastructure and the bandwidth package like 4G, 3G, etc. And we all use our smartphones to open different websites. Let's take an example to understand it better. Consider you are testing Google.com's search functionality for a defined number of V users. Almost every known country has localized version of Google.com. For example, google.com.in for India and google.com.pk for Pakistan. To keep the things simple, we say each country has google.com deployed in their local servers. So we can say google.com is deployed on many servers around the world. If you want to do the load testing of google.com, including all localized versions, for example google.com.pk, google.com.in, etc., there are two options. The first option is physically deploy the controller in USA and all other countries where google.com is deployed, and that is very expensive. And the second option is, instead of physical deployment, we can install the whole environment, controllers and load generators in the same lab in the USA and emulate the different countries' location using network virtualization settings. So this is the function of virtual location setting. You can add virtual location where your application and a test is deployed. Then you can select that virtual location, click on configure button, and modify different options, for example latency, packet loss, bandwidth, that might be given to you by your network team. The next thing you can see is a group name column. Since virtual user script will be run by a group of users, hence it is called as group name. It shows the name of virtual user script that we added before. For example, the search flight. Let's try to understand the functionality of each button in Scenario Group toolbar. We will start from third button, that is add group. In a simple word, add a new virtual user script. Click on this button. This is add group window. You can specify the group name, virtual user number, and the name of load generator. After that, you can click on Browse button to select any existing script from your computer, or you can click on Record button to use Virtual User Generator to record the script. We already have added the search flight script, so click on Cancel button. You can also right click on Gray Area of Grid and select option Add Group. The next button is to remove the group. Select the group you want to remove and click on Remove Group button. It will show you the warning. Click on No button. You can also right click on the gray area of the group and select option Remove Group. The next button is for runtime settings. We have discussed about different runtime settings in detail. Please watch Virtual User Generator video for reference. Hit OK button. Move to the next button, Details. Click on it. Detail button shows all detail pertaining to vUser script. The group information window will show you the information about the group, for example, group name, load generator name, and the script name. Click on More button. You will see the panel with the three tabs. The first tab is runnable point. Right now there is only one runnable point in our script. The second tab is vUsers. It will give you the list of all vUsers. For example, right now we have 10 vUsers. The last tab, Files, will show you a list of all files in the script. Hit OK button. The next button is to view the script. Once you will click on it, it will open the script in Virtual User Generator. So this is the script for web tours find a flight page. I have one runnable point, and this is auto-generated think time, and there's only one transaction in the script. Once your scenario is ready, you can click on Start Scenario button to run the scenario. As soon as you will click this button, you will notice controller switches from Design tab to Run tab. At the start of the execution of the scenario, controller will implicitly create the temporary directory to dump the result. If directory already exists, you will see this warning message. If you will select yes, the previous dump will be lost. If you will select no, you will be shown a new window to create a new directory. For now, click yes to override the previous dump. As soon as you click on yes button, you can see users are moving from pending to init state, then they are stopping at runnable point to make a heavy load. From the left available graph panel, click on transaction response time. In the bottom of the window, you can see which transactions are passing, the minimum time taken, the maximum time taken by the user, average time, and standard deviation. You can click on Past Transaction. It will open a new window. Here you can see the status of transaction which you applied throughout the script. Similarly, from left panel available graphs, you can click on any graph name to open it in a main window. For example, transaction per second, running V users. So I would recommend please go ahead and explore each graph and try to understand it. If you switch back to Design tab, you will see that duration is 5 minutes. It means that after 5 minutes approximately, this scenario will be stopped and user will be gracefully released. Let's go back to Run tab. You can see this scenario execution took like 6 minutes and 38 seconds. That's why I used word approximately. It may go a little up depending upon on different factors. And now it finally stopped. The next topic we are going to discuss is goal-oriented scenario. Goal-oriented scenario is more dynamic in nature, means it keeps changing the load being simulated on the server. As compared to the manual scenario where you have more control, you can change number of V users, duration of script execution. In a goal-oriented scenario, you simply set goals. For example, hits per second, transactions per second, transaction response time, and then you check the result of these goal execution and do analysis. Like how many number of users your application can easily manage between staying certain response time. It means web application never gets slow if more number of users visit it. Similarly, how many number of users still can access application for certain number of hits to the server happen per second. It means you never get server too busy error message while visiting web application. So let's go ahead and create a goal-oriented scenario. Select the script, search flight, click on Add button, and then hit OK button. So this is the home screen of goal-oriented scenario. Most of the interface is same as manual scenario. Certain screens are different. For example, instead of group name, we have a script name over here. And this is the list of buttons. We have understood these buttons functionality in manual scenario video. For example, add script. You can add the script from your computer or you can record the script using virtual user generator. The next button is remove script. You can remove the script from scenario script. The next is runtime settings. We have learned about different runtime settings, for example, run logic, pacing, log, think time, etc. The next is details button. You can see the detailed information about the script. If you will click on more button, you can see the runnable point and all the files in the script. The next button is view script. You can view the script in virtual user generator. You can click on generators button to view the list of load generators. Right now we have only one load generator localhost, that is this current machine where I'm working. You can click on add button to add more load generators. You need to specify the name of load generator in this text box and the platform. Click on more button. You can see the information about load generator in different tabs, for example status, virtual user limit, network virtualization, runtime code. Click on cancel button and close this window too. Next we will understand scenario goal. Now these are the default settings. click on Edit Scenario Goal. The first option is goal profile name, hits per second 100. You can click on Rename button to rename this string. Enter the new name here and click on OK button. Now the next section is for scenario goal. The first option is goal type. There are 5 different goal types provided by LoadRunner controller. The first one is virtual user. The second one is hits per second, transactions per second, transaction response time, and pages per minute. In the next text box, you can specify your goal, for example, 100 hits per second or 200 hits per second, etc. And how many number of virtual users you want to use. The default option is from 50 to 150. So in a simple words, we can define this scenario. What would be the system's behavior if there are 100 hits per second by 50 to 150 virtual users? The next setting is the duration of script, how long you want to run this script. By default it is 30 minutes, that's half an hour. You can increase or decrease it by clicking on this arrow up and down button. So we have learned about the goal oriented scenario. You can click on Start Scenario button to run this scenario. Click Yes.